button if you feel like joining us in singing this next song. It's called Dancing in God's Heart. We would love it.
Yeehaw.
It might make you stand up and stomp your feet. Well, if you were already standing, stay standing, because we're going to sing My God is So Good to Me.
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4.
God is so good.
I got up this morning singing.
God is so good.
I woke up this morning singing.
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Oh, yeah.
I got up this Sunday morning.
God is so good.
I woke up this Sunday morning.
God is so good.
I got up this Sunday morning.
God is so good. My God is so good to me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Now take the time to praise the Spirit.
God is so good.
Yes, I take the time to praise the Spirit.
God is so good.
I take the time to praise the Spirit.
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Yes, I woke up this morning singing.
God is so good.
Yes, I like to wake in the morning singing.
God is so good.
I woke up this morning singing.
God is so good. My God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sirree.
We got hillbilly kickoff this morning. Woo! Thank you, Heart Dream. We are so glad to have you guys here this morning. As always, you are a blessing to our community. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Center of Walnut Creek. We are so blessed with your presence this morning. My name is Linda Stevens, and it's my joy and my honor to be a part of your service this morning. I'm going to say good morning to our folks at home. Your presence means a lot to us. That's right, everybody wave, and we are so glad that you're here. Your presence means so much to our community. Thank you. Now, if you've got something that rings or dings or makes a sound, would you please turn it down to silent or turn it off so it doesn't even bother you during the service. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And that's why we come here on Sunday. That's why we go to classes. We come here to learn to live our life in a spiritual way. And we have a mission at Unity Center of Walnut Creek. And that mission is, in a loving community, we empower spiritual growth by modeling, teaching of universal spiritual principles. And we have a statement of faith that we say together every morning. You can say it at home in the morning, but on Sunday mornings, we say it here together. So on the monitors, you're going to see that. And I encourage you to take a moment and go into your heart. That's where spirit lives. That could be mine, since I'm not sitting there. So I'll turn it off in a minute. Let's be in our heart. And together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Now sink down just a little deeper in your heart. Take a breath. And once again together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Now there's usually somebody here that's first time to come to Unity today. And I have a few options for you, okay? The first option is, if you want us to get to know you and tell you hello out on the patio, we're going to give you a gift in a minute. And you're invited, if you choose, to wear the necklace that's part of the packet you're going to receive. But you don't have to put it on, okay? You can put it in your pocket and take it home as a gift. But if you would like for us to know who you are, we would love to identify you and say good morning. The other thing we invite you to do, if you choose, is to fill out a connection card that's in that packet. And that lets us know that you are here today. Now, if you would like, you can raise your hand now and let us know that you're here today. If you don't want to raise your hand, you don't even have to do that. We are so whatever works for you, okay? You can go to the bookstore and pick up that packet. We also have another gift for you in the bookstore. So is there anybody here that would like to raise their hand that they're new today? Oh, look at that. There's somebody right over there, and I think they missed all the options. I will tell you all your options later, okay? I didn't mean to point you out, okay? But we're really glad to have you here today. Thank you so much. Oh, there's another one. Lisa's here. This Lisa happens to be a relative of a very important person in our congregation. She just happens to be up here every Sunday morning. And Lisa is from Chicago. And we're so glad that you're here with us today, Lisa. Thank you. And other people, if you didn't raise your hand, we're glad you're here. Please pick up your gifts out in our bookstore. Now it's time for everyone else to take a connection card out of the seat pocket in front of you and fill it out. If you have a prayer request, we'll be praying with you through the week. And you can also give us any feedback that you want on these cards. If you request information from our staff, they'll give you a call back during the week. Now is the time. Now those cards that you fill out, just put them in the offering plate at the end of the service. It's time for us to tell our neighbors good morning. So until you hear the gong, stand up and tell your neighbors good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, neighbor.
I figured I'd have fun with it. Who knows what my voice was going to be? I know. That's what I was hoping for, too.
Good morning, my name is Ciel. And today is birthday Sunday. Those of you having birthdays this month, if you would stand, we can honor you with a song.
Yeah. Here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, yes. Another song?
We do indeed.
Okay, move on. Well, that song that was supposed to play is a great reminder for us to turn our cell phones off. All right. And it sounds like it's going to play.
Okay.
Or it was. And it's a sample of the fun music written by Karen Drucker.
Cell phone off, just put it on vibrate. The bathroom's in the back, we guarantee there'll be a break. There'll be time to eat, there'll be time to mingle. All your needs will be met, but please turn your cell phone off. Turn it off. Turn your cell phone off. Turn it off. Turn your cell phone off. Turn it off. Turn your cell phone off.
All right. So that was a sample of music by Karen Drucker. And we are, by the way, very fortunate to have Karen Drucker as our guest next week. In our Sunday services, her beautiful and soulful music has been heard around the world, and you will not want to miss this amazing singer and songwriter. And next Sunday also is the launch of our Stories of Triumph, a new 3-week series featuring the inspiring stories of our very own congregants. Please plan to attend our next community gathering with the Board of Trustees on Sunday, August 20th, immediately following the 11:30 service. Your board will share important financial and other updates, field questions, and conduct an open council session for those interested in exploring the idea of absentee ballots for the board election. And feel the love, share the love, be the love on October 28th when we reconnect with flower power and groovy vibes at the Unity Fundraiser, the Summer of Love. We invite you to light up the love by helping us to create an out-of-sight fundraiser for Unity by soliciting donations for the live and silent auctions. Please see your bulletin for more information. Now, Reverend Kristen, if you'd like to come up, please.
So one of the wonderful gifts of ministry is being able to hold space for people, no matter what they're going through. So whether it's a joy in their lives and you're celebrating with them, or it's something difficult or heavy on their hearts that you're helping them through. I've had times when I've prayed with a prayer chaplain and I feel the weight of whatever it is that I was holding just literally fall off my shoulders because somebody else is there in prayer partnership with me. And you could be, and especially if your heart is going, one of those people that could be holding that kind of space for our whole community. If you feel called to be a prayer chaplain and you think, I would love to do that, but I'm not sure that I really know how to pray with folks, don't worry, we fully train you. So we're calling now for new prayer chaplains. We have an orientation next Sunday, right after the final service, right after the 11:30 service, to talk a little bit more about being a prayer chaplain in the community room. So if you think you might be interested, come to that meeting. And then put on your calendar the training weekend, September 8th, 9th, and 10th. We really love you to join this really sacred ministry if that's something that's calling your heart. And Ciela is our coordinator, so you can also ask her any questions. The ones with the lavender stoles are prayer chaplains, so you can ask them about their experience as well, including David today. Thanks.
Find out more about these and other activities online and in today's activities.
Please join us in singing Thanks for Loving.
Thanks for loving. Thanks for loving. We are all one in God's heart, so thanks for loving. Thanks
So we invite you to prepare for this time of meditation. David Peterson, one of our prayer chaplains, will be sharing a poem, and then we'll have some more music and silence.
This is a poem by Mary Oliver. It's called Mindful. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with the light, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the oceans shine, the prayers that are made of grass.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. We are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful, we are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful, we are so blessed, we are so grateful, we are so blessed.
Invite you to take that spirit of knowing how very blessed you are, that sense of gratitude that you may be feeling in your heart right now. And imagine, if you will, someone in particular that you are grateful for in your life. And as their essence or image arises, taking just a moment to reflect on the ways in which you are grateful for this individual. And in the spirit of giving and receiving, now giving this individual a blessing of your own, a wish for love, for health and happiness in every way. Seeing this one for whom you are grateful, infilled and overflowing with the light of God's love. Prospered in every way. And notice how as you give this blessing to the other, that you too are filled. The joy of giving, the expression of gratitude, all of this goodness we carry in our breath, breathing in and out the prosperity of gratitude in the silence. Giving thanks to God for the endless blessings of our lives, the blessing of life itself. We know this truth, that I am so blessed. Indeed, and so it is.
so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Sitting in the stillness of my heart, I close my eyes, going deeper within, feeling the warmth welling up inside, letting the symphony of love Raindrops fall in a clear crystal bowl.
Every chord harmonizes my soul. From my dream I awaken to sing. Gratitude and thanks for everything.
Violet blue aura in my third eye,
ethereal. Thank you. Thank you for taking us on a journey. I want to stay in that journey, don't you? Yeah, that was beautiful. Evelyn Gibbs was an elderly woman who loved Halloween. And one of the things that she loved was all the different costumes that she got to enjoy and handing out the candy and connecting with the children in her neighborhood. So all the little angels and the goblins and, you know, the Ninja Turtles and the superheroes. Half the time I don't know like what the new edgy costume is, right? What the latest character is. And then you got to ask the kid, who are you? But she loved all of that. However, she had arthritis, and on that day of Halloween, she was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can hand out the candy or open and close the door. And so she was trying to figure out how could she enjoy Halloween and not do all of that. So she hung her bag of candy outside her door, turned on her porch light, turned off her living room lights, and just sat in the dark to enjoy the costumes as they came up on her porch. And she said she was worried that she was going to run out of candy. And so it was getting to the end of the evening, and she had enjoyed all the children and all the costumes throughout the evening. And so she thought, well, I better get up and turn the porch light off. But just before she did that, 4 more children came, 3 older ones and 1 tiny witch. And the 3 older children, you know, threw their hands in there and grabbed what they could, right? And they took their candy bars, and she was really worried that the little witch wasn't going to get a piece of candy. And so that little hand went in there and it sort of, you know, rousted around, and she thought, oh no, I'm heartbroken. The little witch isn't going to have any candy. And she came up with 1 single orange jelly bean. And the other kids are calling to her now and saying, Emily, just come on. Nobody's home at that house. You're not going to get any more. But Emily was very thoughtful. And she stood there with her jelly bean, and she looked at the house, and Evelyn got to hear her say, thank you, house. I like my jelly bean. And pop it in her bag and scamper away. An attitude of gratitude. That's what the little witch embodied for us. And in that attitude of gratitude, there is no space for those scarcity myths that we've talked about during this prosperity series, the ones that Lynn Twist identified in The Soul of Money. That there is not enough is a scarcity myth that we live with often in our society. More is better, and that's just the way it is. Can't you see those active in our society? And so we want to not align with those, but to align instead with the prosperity, the understanding, the abundance of good. And gratitude is one of the surest ways to get us there. This is the last in our prosperity series, the last pillar. So if you remember, we laid a foundation of faith together, and we erected 4 strong pillars to strengthen this house of prosperity. And the first was vision, setting a vision for our lives, recognizing that the life that we're living is living our vision. And so if we want to be living something different, we just need to cast our vision out a little bigger and broader. And the second pillar, forgiveness, letting go of the blocks so that the flow can come forward again. So wherever we're holding grudges or resentment or those kinds of things, we open the way and let the good flow once again to us and through us, which brings us to generosity. Generosity, a principle that is very much aligned with the law of circulation, giving and receiving. And then finally today, our final pillar, gratitude. So why do we even want to develop an attitude of gratitude? I mean, we know this kind of intuitively, I think, how good it feels to be grateful, right? When we're in a state of gratitude, how that is a state of timeless joy in a way, fully present. And these are some of the reasons why we want then to develop more of it, because we get fully present in the moment when we're grateful. There's not really room for what's not working or what we're unhappy about when we are in a moment of gratitude. And when we are in gratitude, we're in our hearts. And so when we move into this rich place that is the heart, we get into that place that has potential to open to greater good. Gratitude is really a cure for all the ways we get misaligned, all the maladies of our life, if you will. All those places where things don't feel quite right. Gratitude sort of makes it just fit right in line. And when we are grateful, there is a multiplying of our good, truly prosperity, right? Because that which we praise increases. Whatever we praise increases. So where we give our attention, we get more of that. We know this principle innately as that third principle of Unity's basic principles, the law of mind action or the law of attraction. That which we focus on, we get more of. So when we praise something, we get more. So if we look around in our lives and see what is good, including within ourselves, more of that will become available to us. There's a story in the Bible called the widow's oil. Do you remember that story? Some of you might know it. In the story, the woman who has just become widowed, and if you think about 2,000 years ago or more, becoming widowed for a woman meant she pretty much didn't have any economic choices, or not very attractive ones. And she had 2 sons to raise. And so her choices look like selling her sons into slavery, or selling herself into slavery, or selling her body. You know, these were sort of the kinds of choices available. So she went to Elijah, the prophet, the teacher in her area that she knew, and said, Elijah, what should I do? I have nothing. I'm recently widowed. I'm concerned about my sons. I don't know how to feed us and take care of us. And he said, well, you must have something. No, I have nothing, she says. And so he says, look again. So she goes into her home and she finds just a little bit of oil. And she says, I have a little bit of oil. Like, that's not going to do any good, right? And he says, great. She's thinking, what do you mean great? Okay. So he says, tell your sons to go out around the neighborhood and collect as many vessels as they can. And so the sons come home with bowls and vases and glasses and all kinds of vessels. And he says, now close the door. This is an important step. This is the closing the door on the outer world, moving within into a space of conscious abundance. When we get still, like we just did a few moments ago, that's what we sit in, is that abundant good of God. The abundant light, the abundant love, the abundant peace, the quiet is where we come to know that. And so that's why she was to close the door. And then he said, begin to pour the oil. And something amazing happened. As she began to pour the oil, more and more oil flowed, and she kept pouring it, and it filled every vessel. And as she was filling the last one, she called to her son, get another vessel. And they said, there are no more, and the oil stopped pouring. And so it is also our receptivity, right? When we stop offering ourselves up empty and open to receive our good, the oil will stop pouring. The good will stop pouring. The love, the money will stop pouring. It's not that it really stops pouring. It's just that we stopped offering ourselves up. And so that generosity, that giving and receiving pillar is a part of this as well, as is the gratitude, the recognition that we have so much. I remember once traveling in Africa, and I had brought too much. My American self had brought too much in the backpack, so much that I'd never worn the backpack. I could hardly stand up. And I went with my friend who was a Peace Corps volunteer, and she had very little because she was used to living in Africa for a couple of years, and she had like a small rucksack with a couple of dresses and a little jacket. And I was almost embarrassed at the things that I had brought, you know. So I said, I need to send some of this stuff home. And so we spent a full day looking for a box. A whole day, going everywhere to stores and houses and post office. And I thought about how much we have here, you know. a little bit of oil is a lot. A little bit of oil can bless 3 lives. And in that case, the widow took it to the market with her sons, and they lived on the proceeds of that oil happily for the rest of their lives. It's just a matter of perspective. It's just a matter of shifting our thinking. When I returned from that trip to Africa, I had a headache, and I had reverse culture shock, even though I was only gone for like 6 or 7 weeks. And I was standing in the store in the aisle of the aspirin, and I just got paralyzed. I couldn't make a choice. It was just like, what? Extra strength and extra strength, and the red one and the yellow one and the orange one and all the brands. And I walked out of the store. I was like, I'd rather have a headache. This is giving me more of a headache. There's actually studies that show that too many choices are not as happy. Like, we're happier when we have less choices. And so I think when we sort of simplify, right, this is a part of gratitude, the simplicity of gratitude. Those were some big tangents that I didn't plan on, but that's okay. Thank you, Spirit. I love it when that happens. Helen Millikoff said this in 100 Gates. I was regretting the past and fearing the future, and suddenly God was speaking to me. I am. I waited and continued, she said. I'm not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future and its problems and fears, it's hard. I'm not there. My name is not I will be. My name is I am. I am that I am. It brings us to the present when we are grateful, into the I am, that consciousness of the divine that knows that all our needs are taken care of and then some. This week I was having trouble sleeping one night, and I had trouble sleeping one night, so the next day I had an opportunity to take a short little power nap. And I was lying down and I was thinking about all the things I needed to do. And I thought, wow, I had just read this quote, the day before. And I thought, well, I could just be here now. And if I were here now, wouldn't it be lovely to enjoy the soft bed and a moment of rest? Wouldn't it be lovely to be present in this moment instead of resisting what is? And isn't it just ridiculous that I would be resisting the opportunity to take this little cat nap? So it's like we can kind of talk ourselves back into the present moment by recognizing how we're stretching ourselves into the future or reflecting on the past. And what does that do? It crucifies us in the present, or it crucifies the present. It allows us not to be right here. And so here and now is where we feel that gratitude. Gratitude actually makes us happier. The more we practice gratitude, the happier we are. Also studies on this. Dr. Robert Emmons is known for his studies of gratitude. I can imagine what he must be like studying gratitude at the depth that he does. He's had like 60, he's a UC professor, and he's had like 60 articles out and 2 books on gratitude. And what he's studied, and it's not surprising, usually these studies aren't, that people who practice gratitude are happier people. And that happier people tend to practice gratitude. It just happens that way. And he says it tends to be clusters of characteristics, that people who are grateful are optimistic, are hopeful, are happy. And then there's this other set of characteristics that block our sense of gratitude and happiness. It's when we feel a sense of deservingness or entitlement. And so when we are in those kinds of states, we are more constricted, right? I want more, I need more. It's where that sort of hand in the Halloween bag comes out with big handfuls of candy, right? That sort of greedy impulse that says there's not enough or more is better. And we can take that into our world, and instead we can turn the hand around and offer it up. Because in the sharing there is gratitude. In the sharing there is joy. In the giving of all that we have and all that we are, there is great joy. So we develop this attitude of gratitude by being even proactive about it, not just waiting for something good to happen to us and saying, thank you, I'm really grateful for that. I mean, that's a wonderful practice of gratitude. And there are studies, too, that show that when we express our gratitude, we're happier, not just when we think it, but when we say it out loud or we give something back, that there is a greater sense of happiness. And so that loop, again, that law of circulation is a part of it. So it always comes down to, though, how do we see things? What's our perception? And then what choices do we make? There were two travelers, and they were hot and thirsty and hungry and tired. They'd been traveling, walking in the hot sun for a very, very long time. And in the distance, there was a tree. And one traveler thought, oh, I hope that tree has some ripe fruit. I am so hungry and so thirsty. And all the while they're walking toward the tree, he's thinking about the ripe fruit that tree he hopes will have for him. And when he gets there, it's like a demand, right? The tree better have some fruit for me. And he's very, very angry when he gets there and the tree does not offer ripe fruit. The other traveler is so grateful that they have a break from the sun. And he sits underneath the tree and rests his body on the trunk of the tree and says, but the shade, isn't the shade so lovely? And the other traveler says, yeah, but I wanted fruit. There's always a choice. It's always a choice for us to look through the same eyes and see what is missing, what is wrong, what's not okay, what needs to be perfected, what needs to be criticized in our mind or judged in some way, whether it's ourselves or others, or to look with the eyes that say what's good, what's right, what's fulfilling, for what we are grateful. And so we always will benefit more by being the traveler who sees the shade, or if there's ripe fruit, who sees the ripe fruit, who doesn't resist what is, but says yes and thank you for what is. The late, great Maya Angelou, she had a pretty tough life, if you know her life story. She had a lot of very difficult things happen to her. Yet most of us really have benefited from her wisdom and her poetry and been moved and inspired by it. She was a Unity person, I don't know if you knew that, but she did attend Unity and studied Unity teachings and materials. And she always said that no matter what happens to you, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever happens to you, she says, the appropriate response is thank you. Because whatever happens to us, she says, there's a rainbow, even if it looks like a cloud. It's about calling forth the hidden good, or looking for the good. If it's hard to find the good in the moment because of whatever emotional state we might be in, then just hold a space for it, knowing that as we hold that space, that we're making room for Spirit to bring forth the good, for it to be visible and felt for us. So in those moments where it's hard for us, we can just say, I call forth the hidden good to be revealed. I thank you, God, for bringing forth that hidden good in the right and perfect time. It shifts our thinking, gratitude, completely. So the practice of gratitude shifts our thinking, and when we shift our thinking, we tend to be more grateful. It's a circle of gratitude and joy and happiness and all the close cousins of it. There was a stonemason, Piero Ferrucci tells a story, and the stonemason worked really long, hard hours, and he didn't make much money, at least in his perspective. And he would work all day, and he'd be super tired at night, and he'd fall into bed, and he'd look at his piddly paycheck, and he thought, what a life. I don't enjoy this life at all. What's the point of it anyway? And he would think longingly about a life of loafing if he were a rich man. And so he would imagine what it would be like to be a rich man. And then he heard a voice say, "You are what you imagine yourself to be." And poof, he became a rich man. And as a rich man, he had a beautiful house and he had lots of food and he was entertained to no end. And boy, was it fun to put his feet up for a while and relax and enjoy the fruits of life. But after a while, he became bored. And he thought, as he saw the king and his entourage come by, I would love to have the power of the king. And poof, he became the king. Because what you think about, you become, said the voice. And so as the king, he got to be very powerful, and people feared him, and he got to decide everything that was going on in the kingdom, and it was a power trip that he was really enjoying for a while. And then he started to want more. He wanted something more. He wasn't sure. And he started to walk around outside saying, I want, I want, I want. And he looked up at the sun. He thought, boy, it'd be cool to be the sun. I mean, the sun, the earth rotates around the sun and it gives its light to the whole earth and you'd have a view of everything. I mean, I would really be king of the universe if I were the sun. And of course, he becomes the sun. And he radiates his light, and he has this beautiful view of the earth until the clouds come by and obscure the landscape. And he thinks, wow, those clouds, they shapeshift, they're misty, and they're cotton balls, and they can do all these things. How free it would be to be a cloud. And he becomes a cloud. And so soon the clouds condense and evaporate and begin to bring water down to the earth. And he notices as he's falling upon this really strong rock, how strong that stone is. And he thinks, well, I just hit this, and then I run down and I'm hitting that rock so hard. He says, I would love to be that rock, that strong and sturdy and secure rock, and he becomes the rock. And as a rock, well, he feels the rain, and it's like a massage, and he feels the warm sun, and he's refreshed by the breeze, and he's really enjoying life as a rock. And along comes a man in the distance, slightly stooped with a big hammer. And he begins to hit the rock. But it's not the pain so much that upsets him as the rock, but the dismay that this man is now shaping him and rechanging him. And he thinks, I want to be that man. And so the stonemason becomes a stonemason. Except now he's a happy one and a grateful one. Because now he sees that he is a part of the whole universe. And as he chips away at the rocks, he now sees his work as an art. And at the end of the day, when he is tired from his labors, he feels the fulfillment of a job well done. And in his dreams, he dreams of how the stones he has chipped away will become a great cathedral. It's all how we look at it. It's all whether or not we practice gratitude. It's the law of attraction in action, and it's contagious gratitude. The more we say thank you, the more we feel fulfilled, and the more thanks comes back to us. It's that cycle of goodness. Has anybody heard of appreciative inquiry? Yeah, a lot of you. So especially in organizations, this has become popular, or it's at least in unity circles, us types of folks, it's popular. This idea that instead of, like when we analyze what's working in an organization and not working, instead of focusing what doesn't work, we focus on what does work. And we look at that and we talk about that and we focus on that. And guess what? The more we focus on what works, the more we get that works. The more we try to problem solve and look at what's not working and tweak what's not working, it's not really fun, right? We don't have fun doing that. And so there's not that energy, that prospering, abundant energy of gratitude being put forth. So you can apply appreciative inquiry to anything, to your relationships, to your family, to yourself, to your lives. It can be used in any way. It's basically appreciating what works, appreciating what's good, appreciating what we value. Dr. Emmons says that when we keep gratitude journals, in some of his studies, he has found that those who keep gratitude journals report that their thinking shifts into thinking of their lives as a benefit or a gift rather than something that is earned or deserved. So it's not I have to earn or deserve it, but there's just this gift of life, of giving, of the opportunity to give back. And he said that people who keep gratitude journals in his studies, they sleep half an hour more a night, they wake up feeling more refreshed, and they exercise 33% more often than those who don't. So gratitude journals can be super simple. You can write 3 things down at the end of your day that you're grateful for. If you don't want to write them down, think them, but writing them down actually kind of materializes it a little bit more. Such a simple, simple practice. So I want to encourage you to consider that kind of practice, bringing that into your life. You know, life is really a big trick-or-treating experience. And the tricks of the mind will tell us that there's not enough, or more is better, or that it's just the way it is, or whatever other scarcity myths you might come across. But don't be tricked. Because the treats are always there for us. The treats of the things that we are really after, the peace of mind, the health of body, the wealth of finances, the abundance of love, it's always available to us. Let's take our cue from the master of gratitude, the little witch who once looked at a house and held a single orange jelly bean and said, "Thank you, house. I like my jelly bean." Let's close out with an affirmation. Together, I am a grateful, faith-filled visionary with a forgiving heart and a generous spirit. And so it is.
Thank you, Kristen. That excess made me think of my closet. Did anybody else visualize going through your closet and letting go? Thanks, Annie. Good. Kristen, you bring such beautiful images to our minds as you talk. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're so blessed. Whew. Now, our prayer chaplains are here. Prayer chaplains, would you raise your hand if you're here? We've got several of them with the lavender stoles, and they're here to support you with personal prayer. Whether you have a joy or you have a concern, they'll be praying with you if you ask them. And that's all you have to do is come up and ask them to do a prayer with you. Now it's time for our prosperity celebration. Let's open our hearts to the consciousness of giving and the consciousness of gratitude. We align with the universal law of circulation. As we give and are grateful, we also receive and are grateful. There are a variety of ways that you can financially give to this community. For credit card donations, use PushPay on your smartphone or take an envelope from the seat pocket in front of you. And for those of you at home, there's always that PushPay on the Watch Live or donate on the Watch Live page. Now I encourage you to take your tithes and your love offering in your hand as we say a blessing. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you so very much for being with us here this morning. Your presence makes a difference.
We all get to live together on this earth. And we're grateful, yes, we're grateful for the miracle of human birth. The divine has given to us all the tools that we might need. So let's put our minds right to it. Have no doubt we will succeed. That's the spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel a wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice is calling you, that's the spirit. Whoa, 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 Listen, people, the world is spinning very fast. So don't worry about the future, and don't dwell upon the past. There is no time like the present. The time to rise up is at hand. So let's look inside our hearts now. We will see the divine plan. That's the spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel a wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice is calling you, that's the spirit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, people, listen to the music play. Play on, play on, play on, play on, play on.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. That's the spirit.
That's the spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel the wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice she's calling you, that's the spirit. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's the spirit, yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you. Linda just noticed you're Hawaiian today.
Yeah.
And that's the aloha spirit.
Aloha.
Right? Yeah.
Island style.
Beautiful. You all look like you have so much fun up there doing music.
It's true.
Multiplies my gratitude. How about yours? Let's bless these gifts, giving thanks that they multiply and bless our lives and all of those lives that are part of this community and beyond. To all the places this church joyfully tithes to, we give thanks. Let's bless this good together. Together, we give thanks for the ever-increasing, unceasing flow of absolute good in our lives now. And so it is. Let's welcome our children in, marching in the light. karate chopping in the light of God. Let's bless our youth and teachers together. Youth and teachers, you are loved, special, and important. The light of God shines through you. I invite you to join hands and close out with our prayer, protection, and peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine and have fun.